What's up, everybody? Destin Legary here, checking out Eitr. I'm here with my good friend, the programmer on the game. Nice to see you today.
Nice to see you as well, man.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about what we're seeing right now?
Right, this is Eitr. It's an isometric action RPG, heavily inspired by Dark Souls and Diablo. And one thing that makes us different from a lot of isometric action RPGs is that we have real-time combat. Now, a lot of people say, okay, what's the difference between that and like Diablo? In Diablo, you click a mob and it automatically attacks for you. In this one, it's more of a Dark Souls feel combat. We're taking the whole, because we've always, like David Wright, who's the artist, we've always thought to ourselves, wouldn't it be cool if we had a game where you could play it like Dark Souls, fight like Dark Souls or Zelda, but have the loot farming of Diablo. And that's what we've got right here. We've literally got a 2D isometric action RPG with real-time combat, loot farming, randomly generated loot, skills, and your hack and slash, but plays a little bit better, I guess.
And with the Dark Souls aspect, like, are you obviously calling out that game?
Well, the thing is that we don't want to hide the fact that we're inspired by Dark Souls. We think that, well, especially especially David and me, we think that Dark Souls is a really great game. And I actually got into Bloodborne before Dark Souls, and David is a true like Dark Souls fan. And after I played Bloodborne, I was like, this game's just really, really good. I like the systems they have in here. I like the combat they have in here. But it's also Diablo. Like Diablo has the loot farming system in there. They have this thing where they have this infinite loop where people keep on going back to get loot, and we like that kind of stuff. But even though I'm saying Dark Souls and I'm also saying Diablo, we're also inspired by Zelda, we're inspired by Street Fighter, we're inspired by a lot of combat games. So obviously I'm making a big shout out to Dark Souls and Diablo, but it's not the only things we're inspired by.
Now, one of the things I noticed right away is that you went with a female lead. Why'd you make that choice? I love that choice. I'm just wondering why you did.
Have you ever heard of a TV show called Vikings?
Pardon?
A TV show called Vikings.
Yes.
Yes. So when we were making the game, we actually had no sort of world concept. We literally had a prototype of the type of game we were going to make. I then came back home. I think I went to go meet my family, and David was like, Toby, you really need to watch this show. It's called Vikings. You just have to watch it. So, okay, cool. So we sat down for like maybe like 2 or 3 days, and we watched the whole season because it was that good, and we were hooked on it. And literally after that, we're like, okay, cool. We're making a Norse game. We're making a game about Norse mythology. That is just what we do. And the reason why it's a woman is because there's a character in Vikings called Lagertha Lothbrok, and she is the main female lead in the game. And for one, she's hot, and two, she's just a badass. Like, and Shield Maiden just fits it perfectly for us. It just seems like it was the best fit for us.
So, the combat, what kind of weapons can you get?
You can get your normal sword and shield, but at the moment we've got the demo, you can also get sword and axe. We're also putting in bow and arrow. We actually had bow and arrow in the old demo back at E3, but we're reworking it and retweaking it to make it better, so it's not in this demo. We're also thinking about two-handed swords, two-handed axes, maybe even 2 swords in both hands, spear and a shield as well. So we're thinking about weapon sets and different play styles for people to feel comfortable with. So with the dual wield, as you can see right now, it's more aggressive. However, the block isn't as good as having a shield. It's got a different skill on it rather than the shield skill, and it's really just up to you how you want to play. Either you play aggressive or you play defensive. It's really up to you.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about your personal story? You were in college, and then you made this, and then now you're publishing it?
Basically, I used to work for a company to make websites, and I got made redundant. The only reason why I got made redundant because they gave me an option. They said, do you want to move to a different place to carry on working in the company, or do you want to not move to a different place? I said, I don't want to move. And then I came back home and I was thinking, you know, I've always wanted to make video games, and we tried some different concepts before, because this is not our first game. This is our first public game. So we've tried different concepts before, but this is the first game that we actually wanted to make. Well, I think anyway that a lot of indies are encouraged to make simple games simply because they're indies. But we wanted to make a game that we would actually play, and that generally led on to this. So we tried a lot of stuff. We refined the combat a lot. If you think about it, really, people don't know this, but when we first started off, it was side-scrolling. You go left and right, and then we found out that you can't really explore or hide stuff or make things look like really organic unless you have an isometric view. So we actually changed it to a whole isometric view, and that's how Eitr started. I mean, everything kind of fit in all together. Watching the Vikings show being made redundant, coming back home, spending more time with David, having a talk about what we actually want to do ourselves and making games. It all just fit together, and then this appeared, and then we put up a video on YouTube, our first ever video. If you watch that video now, I cringe every time I see it because it's just like, it just looks terrible, but it looks a lot better now. And Devolver saw it, and there was a lot of hype around it. And Devolver were like, look, if you guys are interested, we'll take on the game for you, we'll help you out. Because we were going to do a Kickstarter, and I'm so glad we didn't, because it's so much of a hassle to do it. And because there's only 2 of us making the game, the programmer Dave is the artist, it's a lot of work for 2 people, especially with a Kickstarter campaign. So the fact that Devolver Digital came along was like, look, we love your game, we want to help you guys out. It was great. We were able to carry on making the game and carry on doing what we actually want to do. Yeah, we're not just making a game simply because we're just making a game. We're making a game that we want to play, and we have a passion for it as well.
Earlier, we saw some narrative being delivered through an NPC. Is that how you deliver all the narratives, or are there cutscenes?
There will be cutscenes. There's a cutscene in this game, was the boss cutscene. We don't know how many cutscenes we're going to have yet, but a lot of the story will be, portrayed through the narrative, the dialogue. I don't know if you saw it there, but with the dialogue there, we have sets of text. A lot of people have played the demo so far. They don't know that he has more to say, and they actually miss out on items, and they miss out on things. The NPC he just spoke to actually gave his own interpretation of what's going on in this world, and what's actually going on in the whole Eitr and the Yggdrasil tree. Some NPCs will give their own interpretation. Even though it may be wrong, it's just what they think is going on in the world, and we want the player to sort of put 2 and 2 together and try to figure it out for themselves. But not all of it will be just dialogue. We drive out from, like, maybe the items will have some descriptions about what's going on. Maybe you could find just like a miscellaneous item that doesn't do anything but just gives you information. Just random things like that to portray the story.
How close are we to the boss right now?
Probably about... He's quite close. He's literally just underneath him. He has to literally go take a left, and he gets to the boss like really quickly.
I want to see it. I want to see this cutscene.
Yeah. Everybody's like, I think the boss is the climax of the whole game. Because we were showing at E3, people were playing it, and they were having fun. And then as soon as they got to the boss, because the whole game is we don't have like music, background music in our levels. We actually just have ambience music, and you can hear some of the mobs' footsteps, and you can hear them growl and such, to make it seem less happy and more moody. And when you get to the boss, we turn up the music, because then it just gives you some more adrenaline rush, because the boss starts screaming, and then it turns everything up. And when people start to get to the boss, the game gets more serious, because now David is playing it and literally just like pummeling all the mobs, because we've made it easy for this demo.
It's almost like you made the game.
Yeah. It's almost like that. And what we're doing.
It?
And we basically just made it easy so people can get through the boss, but it's not going to be an easy game. And the boss is going to show you that if David doesn't kill it, because he's the only one so far who's killed it. So hopefully he doesn't kill it, and it makes it look harder.
So you said Dark Souls is a big influence on your design. Did you try and make like super creepy bosses?
Yeah.
This guy looks pretty creepy. He looks like the Grim Reaper.
We did. Like we had like our mini bosses. Well, now they're mini bosses, which were like the same size as you. And then we kind of figured the bigger the mob, the more intimidating it seems. Like every time somebody is met with Jotun, which is down at the bottom where you got the key to the bonfire, people get intimidated and they back off simply because it's larger. And because the Again Walker is actually larger, people just get intimidated by it. It's larger. Another thing that we do is that when you fight him, he's really weak in the beginning, and then he changes into this form and makes him more aggressive. So it just turns up, and now you can hear the music come on, and everything's just turning up and turning up and turning up. This is the most difficult part of the demo that we have.
What are some of the other bosses like in the game? Like, they're all obviously not the Grim Reaper.
No. In our trailer, we actually have a Jotun giant. Jotun is a giant, and he carries on a big shield. He also has a wolf on his back, wolf pelt on his back, which we're thinking maybe comes to life or something. We also have some concept art drawn for some of the bosses. Some of them is a plant boss, and he has like this. I can't remember what the fish is called, but down in dark blue sea, there's these fish that have these light things that come out from their heads. We have a mob that's like that, and he literally has like a person coming out of his head, and it's like bait. And he's a plant. We've also got something called Vorda, which are like guardians, Vordas, and we have a male and female one. So there's going to be a bunch of different types of bosses in the game, and not just Grim Reapers and Giants. We're going to try and mix it up and make things look.
So how long have you been developing this? It's 2 people. How long has this been in development?
For about a year now. We spent a lot of time trying to refine the combat, and we also spent a lot of time trying to make it look good. Because Because one thing we realize is that if your game doesn't look good or look pretty, people don't, oh, damn, he died. The game doesn't look good or it doesn't look pretty, people kind of skip it. And I know graphics aren't everything, but they are something at the end of the day. It gets people attracted to it. So we worked a lot on the graphics, worked a lot with the gameplay, and just...
So, sorry to interrupt you. It just said, protected by the gods. What does that mean? Do you have different effects when you die?
Yeah, when you die, there's a penalty when you die. So when you die, you could, for example, break your item. You could drop your item. You could get a debuff. So there'll be a list of negative effects that you could get every time you die. But if you die too many times, like in a row, let's say you die 10 times in a row, it's a bit of a shame if you keep on getting negative effects. So we might decide to buff you instead, give you a buff so that you can actually go back and kill the boss this time, rather than being at a lower percentage to try and kill the boss, really. So it's like sometimes a negative effect and sometimes it's a positive effect. It actually links in with our favor system because we don't have XP in the game. It's you want to know about favor? Sorry, favors because we don't have any XP. What we do instead is that favor is an item that you get from bosses, killing bosses, or finding it if we hide it away from you, or killing mobs. They might drop it. And when you get favor, it boosts your stats. So if, for example, my allegiance is to Thor, and I have favor, I might get +10 on my strength automatically as soon as I get favor. Now, if I die, I lose all this favor. So what we're doing is that we have the option where if you get favor, you can keep it so you're more powerful, or you can go back to Yggdrasil, which is the hub, and you can spend it to get a less, not as good as a boost of a stat, but it gives you more control as to what stat you want to put, and it's permanent when you actually spend it. So when you spend it, it's not as good as holding it. It's safer, but it's not as good. If you don't spend it, it's, what's the word? It's riskier, because you might lose it, but you're more powerful. So it kind of gives you a hardcore mode on the fly. So if I wanted to play hardcore mode, I'd never spend my favor. I literally play the game until I get to 99 favor. However, if I die, I lose all that favor and I've got to pretty much start again because my character's tainted. If I wanted to play it safe, I'd always spend my favor every time I get it. But you can mix it up. You can have like a level 5 normal and favor level 2, which means that technically I'm stronger than a normal level 7. So I want people to mix and match, so you can play it either completely safely, play it completely risky, or mix and match whenever you want, really, because we have no XP.
What was your biggest challenge programming a game like this?
The isometric view and making things appear in front of each other. And I think probably the thing that gave me more troubles is make sure that combat actually feels good, because we spent a lot of time trying to do the combat. I don't really know, actually. That's a weird question. I've never asked that question before. But I would say literally it's the sorting order with isometric, because it's 2D. You don't really have the advantage of 3D, like a 3D space with your sets. All we're using is X and Y's. So you have to be smart on how you sort of make somebody appear in front of a wall and appear behind a wall, because there's some issues when it comes to 2D isometric games when it comes to sorting things in front and behind. And I think that was one of the main things we had to sort out first. And then after that it was combat, it was AI, and randomly generated loot was actually harder than I thought. So it's a bunch of stuff that was quite hard to do. Even when it came to the art, even drawing pixel art and making sure it looks really good, make sure it looks crisp, wasn't as easy as people think. Because some people think that pixel art is just literally going on paint and just drawing, but it's not. Pixel art is pixel by pixel. Each pixel is drawn by hand, and David is drawing each pixel by hand in this game. He hasn't just gone and painted just with a brush. Every pixel is drawn by hand. So we both have a hard job in front of us, basically. But we love what we do, and we work like on 18 hours a day sometimes. We're insane like that. But it's because we love what we do, and we want to make a really good game. Especially because now everybody's seeing it.
I'm like sitting over here cringing, hoping he gets through this. No!
He's only killed it once, and I haven't even killed it yet. It's because we changed it at the last minute. We thought, hey, it's too easy. Let's make it a little bit harder. And I guess when we did that, I guess we achieved it, because now we can't even kill it. But you can kill it if you know what we're doing. You can kill it. Like if you ignore the mobs, because he gets to his third phase where he comes out of the spell, because you get into a phase where 4 mobs come out and they come after you, and then after that, every time he does a skull spell, he spawns a mob, and it kind of distracts you, because then you have to get rid of those mobs, and it gives him time to basically do his spells without getting hit, when really what you got to do is ignore those mobs and just go for him. But it's easier said than done.
Well, we're going to end the demo there, but maybe if he can beat it, we'll have a clip showing him defeat the boss.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think it's gonna happen though. But you never know. If he uses the lightning skill, because the demo is actually easier. The lightning skill means that every time an enemy is shocked, it will give them it will give you a chance to crit every time you hit it. I just hacked it, just because I wanted to
cheated.
I cheated there. We were told to do that, make it so that it's easy just to get to place, because we don't want people to backtrack and do it.
So you won't be able to do that, everybody, when you actually play.
No, when you actually get the game, you won't be able to do that unless you press up, up, down, down, left, right, or something. Then maybe, but you would.
That's the F2 DLC.
yeah. This is only just for this demo, just to show you. But with the lightning, if he shocks it, you notice that every hit after that is a critical hit that comes up above his head. Because this orange is all critical hit, so he could kill it now if he doesn't mess up, but we don't know. I guess we just have to.
The pressure's on. Just don't make any mistakes.
The pressure is on. The pressure is on. Oh, just simply have time. He's trying to kill it. We don't have mana either. We've got charges at the bottom, and basically how it works is, for example, that skill he's got there is a lightning skill, and it's offensive. So in order to get a charge back every time you use it, what you have to do is attack an enemy or shock an enemy. Another one is our defense skill, which is the frost shield. And you'll just get a charge back with that one, block more often, and freeze enemies more often, and give you a charge back as well. Because we have no mana. It's literally like Street Fighter with the charges, where a less powerful skill could cost 1 charge, while a more powerful skill could cost 3 charges. So it gives people the option to sort of have a character that has more powerful skills and can do them less often, and somebody that has less powerful skills but can do them often.
He keeps diving in head first like I do. He's too aggressive.
Yep. He does. The thing is, like, you kind of have to not be scared of going into attack, because the more time you spend outside, the more likely he's going to spawn some more mobs and make more trouble for you. So, and because he's got the lightning on right now and the axe is overpowered in this demo, he's probably just going to get rid of that mob so easily. But simply because he's just concentrating on these mobs, he doesn't have the time to look at the other mob and try and kill him. Yeah. But he might do it. No.
Maybe. No?
Nearly.
All right. Well, we have to end it. Sorry, man. Yeah. Thank you so much for showing me the game. What platforms is it coming out on, and when?
It's coming out in 2016, PC and PS4.
Okay. Thank you so much. And for more on Eitr, keep it locked on IGN.